ADHD Diagnoses in Relationship to the American Education System. Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder, commonly referred to as ADHD, is a chronic behavioral condition which affects attentiveness and increases impulsiveness and hyperactivity. In the United States today, ADHD affects 10% of children aged 7 through 14, but this was not always the case. Within the past 10 years, diagnoses have increased by 41%. How can we account for this dramatic increase? There is no standard test required for doctors to administer to diagnose ADHD or prescribe the medicine. There is a list of symptoms that includes traits such as being easily distracted, high energy levels, and difficulty listening. This does not mean that all children who demonstrate one or more of these traits have ADHD. There is a blurred line between active young children and those who suffer from a behavioral condition. Many elementary school children are diagnosed and medicated for a condition they do not have. The problematic boundaries between normal and pathological in relation to the ADHD diagnosis have been the subject of long-standing sociological critique. The standard education system methodology caters to students with specific behavior patterns. From a young age, students are expected to sit quietly at a desk for long periods of time while remaining focused on their work. The expectation sounds reasonable because it is an accepted social normative. Therefore, kids who struggle to meet the expectation can be viewed as flawed, when in fact, this methodology is not effective for all individuals. CNN covered a story where a boy was expelled from his preschool and guided towards medicalization. His mother recalls, "They just said that he was all over the place, he couldn't handle the structure, and they didn't have the staff or the skills to deal with it." Anne is an example of many whose behavior doesn't fit with standards and as a result is referred to ADHD testing. The No Child Left Behind Act, initiated in 2001, could have an impact on the recent rise of ADHD diagnoses. The Act states that students in the public system must receive standardized test results that meet state-implemented standards. There is a strong pressure on teachers for their students to perform well. Therefore, a teacher may be more likely to suggest medicalization to students whose behavior is a personal hindrance or distraction to the class. A recent study shows that most U.S. teachers involved a third party with children's behavior, meaning teachers do not believe that children's behavior reflects poorly on their own teaching. Since the Act was initiated, recess and PE times have decreased coincidentally alongside the increase of ADHD diagnoses. The pressure to succeed in the standardized test has resulted in cutting activity time so that more minutes can be allotted for test preparation. 20% of all districts reported decreasing time for recess and 9% for PE to increase time spent in English and math classes. There is an average of a 50-minute decrease in recess per week. Hyperactive students who already struggle in the education format are put at a further disadvantage because they do not have an adequate outlet for their energy. Sadly, there is no concrete answer that accounts for the drastic increase in ADHD diagnoses. However, it is evident that the American myth of fitting into social norms plays a role in the ADHD phenomenon. The national education system is based off of standardization, which inherently preaches the importance of fitting into social norms. Young, hyperactive children who do not fit the standardized education style are labeled as misbehaved. These children are often subjected to medication to fix their behavioral problems so they can work better in the system. The high rate of diagnoses could be attributed to the strict standardized system that does not accommodate for all learning styles. There is a key difference we must learn between hyperactivity and behavioral conditions that require medication.
created using Powtoon.